How you doing? This is the guy from Pittsburgh, and I'm presenting part 3 of the George and Shirley MacLaine tapes. Their exciting show, another exciting segment of Snorri, Coast to Coast, or as I call it, Crap to Crap AM. Well, first of all, Snorge mentioned Shirley's book over and over and over and over and over and over again, about 7 or 8 times. And I'm paraphrasing here, but this ought to give you a pretty good idea how his show went. Snorri talks about when Shirley talks about higher beings and higher things in the universe and aliens, and Snorri says, "We do believe in a higher power, and I'm sure that's you." So I guess Snorri is equating Shirley MacLaine to the Almighty. Shirley then, starts having coughing fits, and then more coughing fits. Then while she's coughing even worse, Snorri says, "By the way, when you get better and heal up, we got to get you back for some more hours." More coughing by Shirley. "By the way," Shirley says, coughing, "I'm on a detox program." She continues, then Snorri says, "Let's take some phone calls and ease your voice." Excuse me. This while MacLaine is in the background, completely unable to respond because she's going to a major coughing jag. She sounds like she's dying. And the snore takes a phone call and then says, "Nebraska, welcome to the program. I think she can hear you." Shirley says, "I can hear you," followed by even worse coughing. Caller then talks about the film being there, while in the background, Shirley is doing major coughing and honking and sounding like she's headed for the grave at any second. And caller then brings up the Twilight Zone. And the snore says, "Shirley, are you okay?" Shirley croaks, "No." Caller continues, and the snore says, "It could have been a Twilight Zone." Then he says, "Did you see turns of endearment to the caller?" The caller says, "I was too young for that." Snorri goes, "Heh," and laughs. Shirley says to have Snorge caller in 15 minutes. Snorri says, "Shirley's having a heck of a time. We're going to let her go. Shirley's in a major coughing attack. That's a first for me, live." Caller says she's Marshall Clarefelt's daughter, thus violating her last name rule established by Art. And she's not Martinez either. Hi, Art. Hi, Bell Gabbers. Caller talks about Shirley, about people having fantasies about Shirley funding their spiritual visions. How does Shirley do that? Does she channel that funding, or does she get it from Obama? I don't get it. Then Shirley says, Snorri says, sorry about that, "If I had a blank check, no wars, no famine, I'd take care of all the homeless people." Could he be stealing from my post where I talked about taking care of all the homeless dogs, cats, and the homeless? Because Snorri reads Belgab, reads the post. Then Snorri says, "Too much greed out there, don't you think, caller? I'm sorry I had my phone alarm on. I didn't hear you." The snore goes, laughs, and then says, "The radio gremlins will get even, they are." Caller, "I've had people with no teeth, and when the new earth is here, you'll regenerate your teeth very quickly." And then she says, "They're all seeing this new earth. The odd part is we're in a wild and woolly place in between." Where is that? Out in the hollow with the caterpillar cocoons? I have the faith in the new kids. Now, I don't know if that's new kids on the block or there's some other new kids around. Maybe they're star kids. Maybe they're kids with kids or kids on skateboards. I don't know. Snorge comes back to Shirley and she says, "Detox is very interesting." Snorge says, "It sure is." More coughing from Shirley. Shirley asked about loving many of her co-stars and said she didn't like Lawrence Harvey, and that Lawrence has been dead for a while, and she talks about a movie they did, and she turned down Breakfast at Tiffany's to do a movie that 12 people saw. Lawrence Harvey was a difficult actor to work with. Caller asked Shirley if she's related to Berkla and Wesley. I believe their last name was Monroe, another violation of the last name rule. And were you related them in some fashion? Snore says, almost out of time, Shirley. Grab the first one. We're all subject to criticism when we think outside the box. Ding, 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 ding. Art, plagiarism alert, Art, plagiarism alert. Outside the box. Gee, didn't that come from Dreamland? The opening? I think so. I only heard Dreamland for a couple of years, every Saturday and Sunday, but I think that was thinking out things that don't quite fit in a box. Remember that one, folks? Then Shirley discusses criticism and said her people were MacLaine and not Monroe. Snore says for Shirley to get better and segment ends. But wait, there's more Snore. Snorri comes back. Well, welcome back to Coast, and I feel sorry for Shirley. And she doesn't have the luxury that I have, and we all have what are called cough drop buttons. So if we're going to cough, I hit the button and you don't hear anything. And watch this. Silence, presses button, and it comes back in. See how it shuts off? Watch this and see how it shuts right off. On radio, Snorge? How the hell are the listeners supposed to see it happen on radio? Channel it with Shirley? And then the new guest comes in, and Snorge chides the new guest and said that she shouldn't have a coughing spell, and then he says, Shirley sticks her neck out. What is she, a friggin' giraffe? And thank God at that point I ended listening. I couldn't take it anymore. So this is the guy from Pittsburgh with his edited recap of the Snorge and Shirley tapes, or the short Snorge and Shirley hour, and I'll catch you next time. Oh, it's radio at its worst. God help America. Bye-bye.